how to stand out. Maybe you're one of these people that work in a cubicle and that really bothers you. Maybe you're one of these people that work in an open area, right? The modern cubicle, you know what I'm talking about. It's you have a little wall comes up to about right here. But it's open. You can still see everybody, right? And maybe that bothers you. Maybe you're one of these people that just wants your own office. You want to be down the hall, right? Maybe you want to work remotely 100% of the time from anywhere. But how do you do that? Maybe you're someone who's experienced, you've been in the game for a little while, and now you're ready to sort of break out from the traditional structure. How do you do that? It's very simple. You need to do what other people will not do. That's it. Think about it. It's likely the case that you are working in a place where everyone around you, all working towards the same goal, is using the same programming language, using the same programming techniques and programming methodologies to solve their individual task or problem. It's likely that the people around you are not self educating. It's likely that the people around you are not aware that there's a new version of the programming language being worked on, and they don't know what features are being worked on by the language designers or the language implementers. And so they're not aware of new libraries, they're not aware of any of this stuff, right? Anything that I'm mentioning here, they're just not aware of it because they punch in, they punch out, and they learn something at some point in time back in the past, and that's just what they go on every single day, right? They just do that. And they wait for these ideas and all of these new ways of doing things to come to them. And so if you're one of these people, you're going to be just like everyone else. You're going to be in the cubicle. You're going to be in the modern cubicle. You're going to be in that structure that is suppressing. And this is no way to get to where you want to go. As long as you are one of these people, you are not going to be in that office down the hall. You're not going to be the person who is remote majority of the time and comes into the office or comes in, you know, 10, 15, 25% of the time, whatever it is. You're not going to be one of these people because you're doing what everyone else is doing. So, if you want to break out of the cubicle, if you want to break out of the modern cubicle, Maybe you're someone who's already down the hall and you don't want to be there anymore and you just want to be remote. This will get you out of that. You have to do what others aren't willing to do. As I said, take a look around, take inventory, look at what everyone else is doing, and you will come up with a way, and there are many ways. You will come up with a way to rise above that. You will start to see things that you can do that other people aren't doing that will get you noticed more. Like a lot of the stuff that I'm telling you from other videos and in the course, when you start to do these things that other people will not do, they just simply won't take the time to do it. These are the things that will allow you to go to your manager, to go to director of engineering, to go to the chief technology officer, whoever is responsible for you sitting where you're sitting every day, doing what you're doing. That person is the person you can now go to. That person is the person who now understands that you are not like everyone else that they have to keep track of. You are different. You think differently. You do things that are different. You operate differently. And at the end of the day, that's way better than the average that are around you. That's way better. And they know this. So when you ask to be remotely, even if you're someone who's asking to be in the office down the hall, they understand that because of the way you operate, because of the way you think, because of the things you do, you will be given what you're asking for if you leave. So the choice for them is really simple. Do I want to lose someone who is above average, or do I give in a little bit and give this individual what they're asking for because of who they are, because of what they're capable of, because of how they operate? And what you'll find is more often than not, you will get what you ask. And you'll be confident when you ask for it. It won't be like you're everyone else and you're trying to ask for it, right? And this is where most people get stuck. They're doing the things that are exactly the same as the person next to them. And they're expecting to be able to receive all of these wonderful benefits that I'm telling you about. You can't get there that way, and they don't understand this. These people will assume that, well, it's been 10 years. Why can't I do that now? It's because you've done the same year 10 times. That you're not entitled to having and experiencing these things. You haven't done what is necessary. Okay. So take a look around, right? Survey. The answer is there, right? In my case, Many times, it's just looking at the system I'm working on, right? Just taking a certain area of it, not the entire system, but just maybe just a little section, maybe just like an area of the system, right? That I know, that I understand is maybe a hot path, right? You look at that and you say, okay, this is great. This is good stuff here. But how can I make it better, right? Is there another programming language? Is there another paradigm? Is there another way of thinking about this, just this, that is better? And in many cases, you will be able to see it. You will notice it if you look for it. You have to look for it. Most people will not look for it. Most people will assume, well, so and so is the lead on this project, and she or he has done a really great job, and they're really smart, and um, I don't think I can outperform. I don't think I can come up with something better than them. If you choose a different programming language, if a different paradigm, you'd be surprised what you could come up with. You'd be surprised what you could come up with. So this has just been my experience. I looked around. I said, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I started to reach for other programming languages. I started to reach for other paradigms. I started prototyping. And then I brought it to the right person, not my team lead. I brought it to the manager. I brought it to the CTO. I brought it to director of engineering. I wrote a little email, reached out. Can I buy you a cup of coffee? Can I buy you lunch? I've got this idea. What do you think? These are the people you need to reach out to, establish a stronger connection with. These are the people that can help you get to where you want to go. But you have to meet them halfway. Most of the time, these kinds of people have either done what you're doing, what I'm telling you to do right now, or they've learned enough about the industry to respect what you're doing. One of the two. So these are the things, right? This is how you break out. It might not be the only way. There are many ways to break out, but in my experience, this has always worked. No matter where I've gone to work, I might start out in a little cubicle because maybe that's what they want to do, and it's early on in my career, I did this a lot. I started out in the cubicle. I started out, and then eventually I figured it out, and I said, hey, you know what? So and so just left. That office is vacant. I want that office. How can I get that office? Right? I want the office with the big window. Yeah? Because you spend a lot of time there anyway. You might as well like where you're working. This is why you want to break out of a cubicle. Be it the old school kind with the walls and the lame, like one shelf over here where you can put your books. You got the little light, like right underneath your little overhang. You know what I'm talking about. Those old school cubicles. If you're in one of those, you need to get out. Or you have the modern ones that I talked about before, where it's like you have this wall right here. You can still see everybody. You can still get interrupted, but you need to get out of that, right? You have to meet the people that are going to help you halfway first. And the way you do that is by making things better in a very creative way, in a way that most people around you will not do. I'm not talking about go find the latest library in your in the programming language that everybody's using and use it first. That might work. Like it might make somebody like it might make the director of engineering or it might make your manager kind of raise their eyebrow, but you won't get much further than that. And that's not really what I'm talking about. I'm talking about choosing a completely different language, choosing a completely different paradigm, and prototyping. Even if this doesn't work and you don't get out immediately, the benefits that you get from this process will more than get the ball rolling for you. You will learn a new language, you will learn a new paradigm, a new way of thinking, and you are bettering yourself. You can now take that skill with you anywhere you go to work on any kind of problem you want to work on. And the more you do it, the stronger you become, right? The closer you will get to where you want to go. It will just happen. You have to trust me on this. But doing this will get you out. It's how you break out. Yeah, it's how you break out. You have to do what others will not do. It's that simple. It's that simple. So, like I was telling you, look around. Look at what people are doing, right? People you work with. Just survey a little bit how they solve problems, especially the ones that are already being noticed by the team lead, by the manager. You know, those people that I'm talking about. The people that are always being talked about. The people that are always coming forward in the meetings and saying, what about this? What about that? Right? Sometimes it's the person that's the loudest, but you will start to get a feeling for the person that I'm describing here. And you want to take notice of how they are thinking, how they're solving problems, what their what language they might be using, what libraries they might be suggesting, what patterns, what design techniques they might be using, right? And whatever they're throwing around, it's coming from somewhere, right? And it's very easy for you to take some time, personal time, look into that, and when you do, you will come up with a way to make that better, right? And if you can't find a way to make it better, you should be able to find a way to make it better. But if you can't find a way to make it better, try to find another area, try to find another part of the system that doesn't have that, and try to figure out how you can take those same ideas and introduce it into another area of the system. This will not only get you noticed by the right people, but it will get you noticed by the person who's advocating for a certain style or a certain design technique or a certain library or whatever. And that can also get the ball rolling. So, but it starts by taking a look around. It starts by surveying. And in many cases, I'm telling you, you choose a different programming language that is suited for the problem, not just a. You choose a different programming language that solves the problem better. This will be the thing that propels you in the right direction. Because no one else or very few people will do that. That's how you get noticed. It's one of the quickest ways of getting noticed. And the more you get noticed, don't worry about it. Let it build, right? Let it build. If you come up with these ideas and you make these contributions, write it down. When it comes time to ask for what you want, You have confidence. You understand the system better because you understand it from the perspective of multiple paradigms, multiple programming languages, multiple ways of solving it. So you know it better than probably the best person who only knows how to solve it in one way. This is the kind of stuff. So, break out, right? Break out. If you like being there, if you like being in the cubicle, that's okay. This is not for you. This is for the people that felt like I did after what, 5, 6, 7, 8 years in the industry, and you're now at this point where you're like, ah, man, this sucks. I don't really like this anymore, right? This is how you take that next step. This is how you get out. Even if it's just 50% of the time to begin with, right? Negotiate that, right? You're doing things that everyone else is not doing. And this is the thing that you can use to negotiate to get yourself in a place where you really want to be. More productive, coming up with more ideas like the one you just came up with and the one that you're, presenting or the one that you're using to negotiate. You will start to build that momentum and you will break out. You'll get into the office down the hall if that's where you want to be. You'll be remotely 100% of the time, like if that's where you want to be. But that's how it's done. This is how it's done. You have to be willing to do the things that most people aren't willing to do, right? That's just how it is. And it's not difficult. I mean, it takes a little bit of work in the beginning, but that's with anything, right? Anything that's worth it, anything that is that rewarding, it's going to take a little bit of work. But once you get over that hump, that once you embrace it, you will not be the same. You'll be happier. You'll just be happier. So, this is the kind of stuff, right? You click the link. I go into more detail. I actually show you, I actually walk you through step by step how to break out, right? I give you specifics from my own experience that I've used not once, not twice, several times, half a dozen. These are tested and proven ways of breaking out. Click on the link, sign up, and break out. Break out. Work where you want to work from. Until next time.